kind of been avoiding this video, to be honest. Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I am addressing a video that I have not talked about, kind of on purpose. I've kind of been avoiding this video, to be honest. And it's about how to get an A star or 9 in GCSE English Literature. This video is sponsored by the amazing First Rate Tutors, and I'm going to be talking a lot about them later because necessary. So, everyone has to do English at some point, and if you're like me, probably don't like it. But several mental breakdowns later, I managed to get my A star. When I say mental breakdowns, I just couldn't. There were times when I just thought, I'm gonna fail. I'm just never gonna be able to do English language. I just can't do it. And yeah, it was probably one of my hardest subjects that I had to do at GCSE. I had absolutely no motivation to revise for it, and just kind of had to go into the exam as prepared as I could physically bring myself to be and do it. And I wish I'd been more prepared, and so here are some things that I did to prepare me as well as I physically possibly could for this exam, and how you can do it better and how you can do it too. And so, number one, let me just move over a bit. Number one is build up quote banks for each of your characters or each of your themes from your key books that you're studying in English. So I did Of Mice and Men and Jude and the Peacock as my main unseen essay books. And then I also did Merchant of Venice. Did I do another one? Merchant of Venice was my prepared essay exam where you had to write an essay that you'd already planned. And so I did this thing called building quote banks. I don't know where I got the idea of it, I just kind of started doing it. And I will put up an example of one of my Jude and the Peacock ones here. And basically what I did was I went through my notes that I made in class, went through the book, and picked out quotes for each character individually, sorted them by, so this is Jude and the Peacock's play, sorted them by act, and went through them saying, like, here's the quote, here's the analysis. So I would usually do the quote in one colour, and then I would say what kind of technique it was, and then have a bit of an analysis underneath. And as you go along, you become more familiar with the characters, you become more familiar with, you know, the themes surrounding that character, special quotes you could use. I like to put stars beside quotes that are like really important ones that you have to get in if there's an essay about that character, quotes that can go across several themes. And this literally saved my grade. Like, if I hadn't done this, I honestly would have failed those exams where you had to go in and write an essay about a character or a theme, because I couldn't bring myself to memorize the book or to memorize quotes and analysis, so I did this instead. And so what I would do is get the key points in my head by just writing these out, going through maybe just one side of an A4 page per revision session, or maybe two if I had enough like brain power. And then if I was going to write a practice essay, for example, if I was going to write a practice essay about Juno Boyle, I would get my quote bank and I would go through it. And I would say, okay, I want this, I want all these quotes. And then I would formulate my essay from that, and I had maybe about a practice essay per character. And then whenever, I can't even remember who our essay was about in the actual exam, but whenever it came up, I was able to write about it. It was hard to start doing it, but once you start it, you really build up momentum, and I just kept them all in the file and kept on going, and I used nice pens, these kind of things to motivate you to keep going. But you spend time going over the book again and becoming more familiar with it, and that's kind of something I've been pushing lately, because spending time with subjects is really the best way to get to know them best. And yeah, this was extremely useful for character and theme studies, because then if say I wanted to do a study about, okay, this theme, for example, war in 1920s Ireland, then I would just select all the quotes from different people and put them into one, and then you can make an essay from that. Or if it was or if it was Of Mice and Men, then I would say I wanted to write an essay about racial injustice. Then I would take out all the quotes about racial injustice, put them together, and write my essay about racial injustice. And these are sort of things that you can do by just building up quote banks for each character, And I would do maybe a couple of pages for major characters and then maybe one half page or a page for the minor characters, just to have some quotes in case you need to include them in your essay. I think in my GCSE, it wasn't a main character my essay was on, but it wasn't a very, very minor character. And so I managed it. I managed it fine. But it was an interesting one, and I did like that essay. And in at number 2, we have First Rate Tutors. This video is sponsored by First Rate Tutors, but when I say I needed this at English GCSE. Like, it's so good. I've watched some of these videos that she's produced, and they are amazing. Her comprehensive English course for the entire of English GCSE, and so that's English language and English literature in one course, is amazing. It's amazing. But don't take my word for it. Listen to what Barbara has to say about it.
Hello, my name is Barbara and I'm a qualified and experienced English language and English literature teacher and tutor. And I've got several years of experience working with students from diverse backgrounds, both within secondary school but also privately as a tutor. This course covers everything based on my years of experience, where I have distilled all the information and all the knowledge and cut away the fluff when it comes to understanding and passing and securing top level 9 marks in the English GCSEs. What does this course cover? There's a lot, however, everything can be covered in a really intensive period. It covers everything from start to finish when it comes to, firstly, understanding the different texts and topics that you need to understand and know for the English literature portion of the exams. I also cover everything that you need to understand when it comes to comparative essay questions, especially for the language paper 2 exams. But also thirdly, I also offer information and examples related to the spoken language assessments. So, what are you waiting for? Do sign up, and I look forward to starting this journey with you.
Like, this would have given me such a confidence boost that I knew exactly what I needed to know, that I knew exactly what I had to write, exactly how to answer each question, which I just didn't fully have at English literature or language GCSE. I just didn't know exactly what to write, and these videos explain perfectly what you need to know, how you need to know it, how you need to write it. I mean, let's look at Poppies as an example.
Let's look at Poppies by Jane Vere. Now, the poem itself shows a mother who speaks about her son leaving to join the army. In the poem, she described her emotions related to him leaving, then helps him dress to leave. It ends by her going to places that remind her of her son, and it's unclear to us whether her son has died at war or if she's commemorating the deaths of other soldiers who have sacrificed their lives in the noble cause of protecting their country. Now, a little about Jane Eyre herself.
She brings us through the entire poem. She brings us through the analysis of the poem. She brings us through the background information of the poem. And it's exactly what I needed at GCSE, and I cannot believe I didn't know about this earlier. Like, I cannot believe it. It would have been so life-changing, honestly. And I love the model answers because she brings you through exam papers, she brings you through questions and shows you model answers so that you know what you can try to structure your answers, so you know how to make your answers, tweak them to be perfect, tweak them to get the maximum marks, because English is all about really wording your things correctly to get the maximum marks, and she does it perfectly and she does it so well. Highly recommend, like seriously highly recommend. Her exam paper examples are great as well. The videos bring you through absolutely everything. I mean, I cannot praise this highly enough. Seriously. And also, even if you're stuck on writing an essay, she has a whole video on how to appropriately structure an essay. It's so good and it's so useful, and I wish that I had known this going into my GCSE because it's so good. Like, when I said I needed it, and it would have completely changed my life. So if you want to have a look at her course, the link will be in the description down below where you can go and buy it. It is so good, and Barbara has been such an amazing person with me. We did a collab a while ago actually. She is a beautiful human being, and honestly, She did, like, seriously, she has worked so hard on this with all of her experience, and it's amazing. It's really good. So thank you, Barbara, for sponsoring this video. Thank you for this amazing course. I mean, it will help so many people. And go check out the link below for that. So for number 3, we have Annotating Poems. Now, I hated poems. Like, I hated it. I didn't get it. I still don't really get poetry in general. I've just never been really interested in it. And if you hated poetry as much as me, then this is for you. I used my class notes, that, like, you know, stuff that we'd made in class as we discussed the poem. So if we were discussing the poem in class, I'd be taking down stuff that people are saying and going, yep, someone said this. If the teacher says, oh, this is a good point, I'll be going, yep, me writing down the good point. And then I would re-annotate. So I would literally go onto Google, look up the poem, print it out with big line spacing on a page. Try to make sure it's only one page, but print it out with big line spacing. And leave room for picking up my favourite techniques and points and like quotes from that poem, and I would annotate all around it. I'll show you an example here. This is my version of Anthem of Doomed Youth with all of my blue, pink, green and purple writing on it. To pick out things, I would put the rhyme scheme down one side, bit of background at the top, techniques and points all around coming off it, and saying this and this means this means this means this. And that you take one poem at a time and you just go for it, and spending time with the poem helps you remember it, and it's really useful for practice essays. It's kind of like a quote bank for a poem. It's like almost the same thing as the quote banks, except this is how I managed poems. I did this for every single poem. I just had all of my poems in a Polly Pocket with this all. I did it for every single poem we had to do. And whenever you had to choose 2 poems in the exam, there were 2 poems I specifically learnt, and I was able to use one of them in my exam because it was comparing something and something else, and I chose Poppies as my second one. I love the poem Poppies. I said something like the tuck starts and plaits. You be ready for this. So in one line it says something like tuck starts plaits. I said the embroiderment imagery demonstrates how grief has been woven into the fabric of her life. I mean, the English teachers are quaking at that, like, they are quaking at that annotation, that reference. I still don't get it. Honestly, I don't get it. But that's the sort of thing you have to come up with while doing poetry. And as much as I hated it, I kind of like jokingly, but not jokingly, analysing it. So you kind of take out like the most crazy, for example, like tuck starts and plaits. Grief has been woven into the fabric of her life. It doesn't really make sense. However, I wrote it in the exam and I didn't do very well in that exam. However, I passed. I got my A star. So that's the point. As much as I didn't like it, I was still able to manage to get that A star because I just did these things to kind of make myself get the best grade physically possible. And so, yeah, English language and English literature. I did not enjoy it, to be honest. However, if I had known these from the start and had started all these things earlier, I probably could have done even better. I could have done better in my second English exam, to be honest, because I needed these. And especially with First Rate Tutors videos, like, it's so clear, it's so understandable. The speaking and listening examples are so good. Like, if I'd known those, I could have done better in that. It's so useful and I would highly recommend going and checking that out. Remember, the link will be in the description down below. But that is all I have time for today. If you did like this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment down below, do all the great stuff. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye.